by his faith. And so he said yes. And so after he preached and our church stood and clapped, we took him into the back room, into our chapel room, and 5 of our prophetic team people took him back there, prophesied over him. And the guy who's the leader of our prophetic team right now, his name's Andrew Chua. So this would be 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Andrew is the rookie on the team. He's the young one on the team at the time. It's older people for the most part. Andrew's maybe 40 years of age now, so he may have been 30. And Andrew prophesies to Jason Kenney, parliamentary assistant for Stephen Harper, the Prime Minister of Canada, you are about to be promoted to cabinet. That's an out there word, isn't it? And within the week, he's in the cabinet. Well, all of a sudden, that's given our church influence. You understand that? So that gentleman, Jason Kenney's been at our church about 5 times. I've actually had the privilege of speaking at some human rights events in our city, especially Pakistani, Sri Lankan, some of those cultural groups. Our church has a reputation for helping people with human rights. And I've been there, and Jason Kenney has been there. And when he comes in with his entourage, it's like he's shaking hands with all these people, and that's Steve! I'm the only one he greets like that. Steve! I'm probably the only guy with the name Steve, but anyways. When you begin to be intentional about sharing your faith, don't be surprised that the Lord begins to bring people into your life that can be very significant people to change their life. This guy in this story is a significant person. So let's take a look at who this guy is. The Bible tells us that Zacchaeus is the chief tax collector. We could call him the local mafia guy. The chief tax collector would be a guy who's working on behalf of Caesar in Rome, and the Jews do not like these guys because they don't want to have any government over top of them. They want to be the guys by themselves, unto themselves, make their own decisions, and they lost the war, and so Rome is there, and now they're being subjugated. Beside every tax collector would be a Roman soldier. And so when the tax guy says, you owe me $10, everyone's going, it's not $10, it's $2.50. Today it's $10. And the Roman soldier's standing right there, ready to go if you don't pay your fine. And this guy is doing that. When it says that he's a chief tax collector, that means that he's the guy over the region. He sublets, as it were. He's the guy, and he's got guys who work for him, and he's making a cut off of all the tax collectors. He's getting wealthy. He reports directly to the highest tax collector in the country, who happened to be the king, a self-imposed king named Herod. Wasn't a natural king, wasn't born in kingly line. He bought the title, just like you can buy the title for the Air Canada Centre downtown where the Raptors play. Air Canada paid a few $1 million, they get the name. If our church paid a few $1 million, we could call that the Catch the Fire Center. He bought, I know, it's an idea, isn't it? It's an idea. It's an idea. I had a prophetic word, I had a dream one day that our church, here was my dream. Remind me about naming rights, Herod. I'll come back to that in a moment. I had a dream years ago, before I became the senior pastor, that I went to the Sky Dome, which is now called the Rogers Center. And I walked in a side door, and I just somehow knew that I was the pastor. This is before I was the senior leader. And I'm walking in, and the place is full, and it's our band on the stage, and it's rocking. Like, it is, the presence of God is just amazing. And it's like, okay, and I'm feeling really good in my dream that I'm the pastor of this church, 50,000 people in this auditorium, and we're going. Sorry, it was the Air Canada Centre, 20,000 people. I'm feeling really good about that. I went out of the Air Canada Centre, and those of you who've been to Air Canada Centre or Rogers Centre, you'll know that there's a street that takes you to both of them, and it's like a 5-minute walk between the two. When I come out of our meeting, 20,000 people, presence of God, I hear that there's another church meeting in the Rogers Center in the Sky Dome. And I'm going, someone bigger than we are? Oh, that's not good. And so I walk over in my dream to see which church it is. And I walk into the Rogers Center, and guess what? It's our overflow. Cha-ching. Anyways, so I don't know. At some point, I feel that the destiny of Catch the Fire is to be at one of those 2 buildings. Who knows? Maybe when the Blue Jays move to a new stadium, maybe we can buy that. 50,000 people, that would be real cool. Back to the tax collector. So, size person, if you are shorter, if you are taller, like most of my life I've been a foot taller than all the kids in my class.